so I've been playing through some of Sweaty's games for the past few months. Compared to Deadly Premonition and D4, The Missing had a darker and more serious tone to it, even with the more bizarre stuff that happens. The game states in the beginning that it was made with the belief that nobody is wrong for being what they are. The game also makes it clear that it will be tackling explicit content and sensitive topics, so expect some heavy stuff as you go deeper into it. The Missing, J.J. Macfield and the Island of Memories is a 2018 puzzle platformer, published by Arc System Works and developed by White Owls. I played The Missing only knowing a little bit about the gameplay. It seemed like a typical side-scrolling platformer where you pull levers, push boxes, and jump to the next area, but the game ended up being such a profound experience. After I finished playing, I just sat in front of my computer for a few minutes, letting it all sink in. The Missing starts with two college students, J.J. Macfield and her best friend Emily. Both of them go on a camping trip to a mysterious island, but shortly after arriving there, Emily ends up disappearing, so JJ sets out to look for her. And she also gains the ability to regenerate her entire body, which doesn't sound too bad until you realize that she has to hurt herself in order to progress through the game. That includes things like running into barbed wires so that she can use her dismembered arm as a throwable object, breaking her neck to solve inverted puzzles, and setting herself on fire to light things up. It's brutal stuff, but JJ has to continue on. It doesn't help that you have to hear her crying in pain, and the bone-cracking sound effects are so well done that I physically cringed the first few times I heard it. It's totally understandable if the self-mutilating mechanic turns people away from the game. The whole thing may seem overly gory and bleak on a surface level, but the game manages to wrap things up in such a satisfying way. Gameplay-wise, I think it's great that you can heal JJ instead of immediately dying and restarting at a checkpoint, most of the time at least. The later sections of the game can become kind of annoying because of how far the checkpoints are. Sometimes you would be revived at a starting point of a level when you die. Visually, the game has a surreal look to it, and it has some inspiration from Twin Peaks. The game also reminded me of Deadly Premonition in some places. You'll be going through a lot of different environments, from forests, lumber mills, to diners, and they all have a similar moody vibe. It was interesting how not every area had a typical grim and dark setting. Some places were well lit, and yet they still felt a little creepy. It can feel lonely going through each area because of how the game looks, but it's also thanks to the ambient sounds. The music only pops in during scenes that feel like they require music. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, it's really effective. The story itself is sprinkled throughout the game, so you get bits and pieces that lead to a bigger picture. Some of the details can be seen from JJ's conversations on her phone, but I don't want to give too much away because this is the type of game that's best played the less you know about it. The only thing that kind of bothered me about The Missing is the animation and the voice acting. Apart from the clunky gameplay, of course, the animations are kind of stiff and awkward. It felt like it needed to be polished more. It was especially noticeable in cutscenes. As for the voice acting, it felt out of place at times, like the delivery of the lines sounded disjointed. But the game was only like 6 hours long, so it wasn't too bad. If you can get past the disturbing gameplay mechanics and the clunkiness, the game is absolutely worth it. It was a really interesting journey that's going to stick with me for a long time. Thanks for watching, and let me know what you thought about the video. So, I was actually planning on making some spooky content for Halloween, but I might just save it for something else, maybe for another video of games that I've been playing recently, with more horror games this time, because I play a lot of horror games. Or at least games with a horror theme to it. And yeah, look forward to that. That's all, I guess. I'll see you in the next video.